Bedtime reading. Ben and Holly go to the North Pole. Holly and her fairy friends pulled on woolly hats, then fluttered over to say hello to Ben and the elves. "Hi, Ben," said Holly. "What is happening?" "My dad has an important job to do," replied Ben. Mr. Elf gave a thumbs up from the cockpit of the elf plane. "Flight 1000, he nodded. "Ready for takeoff." Wise old elf explained that Ben's dad was making the final delivery of toys to Father Christmas. "Elves work all year making toys," grinned Ben. "Does your dad land at the North Pole?" asked Holly. "No," said the wise old elf. "The toys are dropped by parachute. Once Father Christmas had got the toys, it was his job to wrap them up and deliver them to the children of the world." "I love Christmas," smiled Holly. "And I love snow." Jake Elf nodded. "I wish it was snowing now." Wise old elf whirled out his elf weather detector. "I'll listen to the weather through this giant ear trumpet," he explained. "It's so sensitive. I can hear a butterfly upping its wings in Africa." Strawberry peered into the trumpet. "Can you hear any butterflies now?" she cried. "Ah!" spluttered the wise old elf before announcing that it might snow, or it might not. Holly decided to ask Nanny Plum if it was going to snow. She could tell the future. When Holly and her friends arrived at Little Castle, Nanny Plum was sweeping the floor in the kitchen. "Can you tell if it's going to snow today?" asked Jake Elf. "Yes," replied Nanny Plum. "I'll use my special forecasting globe. It's never been wrong." Nanny Plum gave the globe a good shake, then put it on the kitchen table. A swoosh of snowflakes started to swirl around inside the little glass dome. The elves and fairies had cheered. It was going to snow today. "Stop, stop, stop!" shouted the wise old elf. "That thing can't tell exactly when it's going to snow." Nanny Plum knew it could, but just to be on the safe side, she gave her magic wand a wave. "Abracadabra, make it snow!" "Hooray!" cheered Holly. Nanny Plums made it snow. Barnaby Elf clapped his hands. "Let's go and see it." And the fairies and elves rushed up the castle stairs, two at a time. But when they got to the roof, the sun was still shining. Nanny Plum has magic hadn't worked after all. "Nanny Plum!" bellowed a voice from downstairs. "That's King Cecil," gulped Ben. "It must be snowing inside." The friends dashed into the sitting room. King Cecil was trying to read the paper in the middle of the snow shower. He looked very cross. "Nanny Plum," he boomed, "I am taking away your wand until you learn how to control your spells better. Everyone out!" Nanny Plum led the way back to the great elf tree. Everyone was very disappointed not to have any snow for Christmas. "I can hear something," said Holly. "It's the elf plane!" cried Ben. "That's back from the North Pole." Ben's dad waved hello, then climbed out of the elf plane. Even so, he had delivered all the Christmas presents. He only had time for a quick tea break. He still had to get ready for the elf and fairy feast that took place every Christmas Eve. Elves like working hard, he smiled, and I am an elf. Ring ring. The wise old elf clicked on his mobile phone. Mr. Christmas, he gasped. You are missing the box of toys. Never fear, we'll deliver it at once. The wise old elf explained that Father Christmas was missing box 571. If he didn't have those toys tonight, some children wouldn't get their Christmas presents. Is it this box? Asked Ben, pointing to a big brown crate with 571 printed on the side. Mr. Elf nodded. To the elf plane immediately. Can we come, Dad? Begged Ben. Please. As it was an emergency situation, Mr. Elf decided that the fairies and elves were allowed to come. The plane got ready for takeoff. Look, said Holly. It's snowing. Nanny Plum winked at the wise old elf. You see? She chuckled. My snow globe is never wrong. Ben peeped out of the snow. North Pole, here we come. Does Father Christmas catch them? Thundered Strawberry. No, replied the wise old elf. The toys are collected by Arctic elves. After the elf plane had dropped off box 571, it was time to head for home. Clank, clank, ting. That sounds odd, said Nanny Plum. Cocks and screws rattled around the engine. The airplane was broken. Everyone held on tight, so Mr. Elf could make a bumpy landing. It was nearly time for Christmas, but they were stuck in the North Pole. Holly was very excited. Now we might meet Father Christmas. Nanny Plum gazed into the snow. She wanted to meet some penguins. Penguins live in the South Pole, said the wise old elf. This is the North Pole. Suddenly the Arctic elves arrived. The wise old elf waved at one with a long white beard. That's my twin brother, he smiled. The Arctic elf with the beard was 3 minutes older than the wise old elf. When he heard that his brother was stranded, the wiser old elf decided to take the visitors back to the Father Christmas house. On the way, Nanny Plum borrowed Violet's wand. She couldn't resist casting a spell to magic up a penguin. Luckily, Father Christmas only lived around the corner. Here we are, cried the wiser old elf. I built the house myself. Holly and Ben gasped. Father Christmas' house looked just like a Christmas pudding. Even Nanny Plum's penguin couldn't help being impressed. When they got inside, the wiser older elf showed everyone around. I suppose it's okay, shrugged the wise old elf. He didn't like not being the wisest elf anymore. Nanny Plum pointed at box 571. Shouldn't we be wrapping the presents now? It's Christmas Eve. You are right, cried the wiser old elf. to the present wrapping machines. A line of Arctic elves were sitting at the present wrapping machines, ready to get to work. Arctic elves love wrapping presents. They cheered. And where else? Toot-toot! The wise old elf was very impressed with the toys in box 571. They were robots, dolls, space rockets, and cars. You have done a good job, brother, he said. The wise old elf beamed. Thank you. Ho, 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 chuckled a very loud voice. Father Christmas had arrived. He carefully picked up Ben and Holly and set them on his palm. I've got some work to do tonight, he smiled. Would you like me to drop you all home? It's on my way. Yes, please, cried Ben and Holly. Father Christmas peeled the toys onto his sleigh, then tucked the elves and fairies into his hat. He even found a space for Nanny Plum's penguin. Hoo, hoo, hoo! He laughed. Off we go! Have you got a present for our friend Lucy? Asked Ben. Father Christmas nodded. He had presents for all the boys and girls. When they got to Lucy's house, the chimney looked very small. We can deliver the presents for you, suggested Holly. Father Christmas smiled. All right. Holly and her friends hurried down the chimney. They were just tiptoeing across the rug when Lucy's dad opened the front room door. That's odd, he gasped. Some of the decorations have fallen off the tree. Lucy's dad carefully picked the elves and fairies up and popped them on the Christmas tree. As soon as Lucy's dad had gone, Holly fluttered down from the top of the tree. That was close, she gasped. The elves and fairies climbed up the stairs and crept into Lucy's bedroom. They had enough presents to fill Lucy's stocking right to the very top. Ben, Holly! Lucy had woken up. You are supposed to be asleep, whispered Holly. Lucy giggled. She was much too excited about Christmas to go to sleep. We better go, grinned Ben. Santa's waiting on your roof. The elves and fairies said goodbye to Lucy, then rushed back up the chimney. Now they were ready for Father Christmas to drop them off at the elf and fairy feast. The end.